Hello again, everybody. It's Zach Green here with Bankster DFS Executive Consultant. Today we're going to be looking at earned runs versus strikeouts in daily fantasy sports. And I see a lot of people in our Slack chat lately coming to me with questions about some so-and-so's ERA. Well, ERA is not really a great stat to look at when doing your fantasy research, and here's why. Back in, you know, 10, 20 years ago, pitchers were going 7, 8 innings on a regular basis. Well, now, with the era of pitch counts and everything else, and openers and all that mess, you're lucky if you get 5 or 6 innings a night. And this is how earned run average is calculated. You take the amount of runs given up, multiply that by 9, and then divide it by the amount of innings pitched. So you can see how someone that's only pitching 5 innings is going to have a higher ERA than someone that's pitching 8 and 9 innings. And another thing to think about, a quality start is 6 innings pitched at least and 3 or less runs allowed. Well, if you allow 3 runs in 6 innings pitched, your ERA is 4.5. And people think, oh, well, that's awful. But it's a quality start. You know, now I want to look at this and show you something here on ESPN. I've sorted by 120 innings pitched, because most starters have at least 120 innings pitched by now. Look at the ERA. There's a few guys. Only 8 pitchers in baseball have an ERA under 3. And you want to increase that a little more. Only 21 pitchers in all of Major League Baseball with at least 120 innings pitched have an ERA under 4. So that is why ERA is not really a great thing to look at, because if you sort it by strikeouts, only of there's 13 pitchers, if I can get it to load, 13 pitchers that have 150 plus strikeouts in 120 innings pitched. Well, of those, only 4 have an ERA under 3. So there was 8 pitchers that have an ERA under 3 in baseball, but only 4 of them have over 150 strikeouts, which is what you want in daily fantasy sports. And why do you want that? An earned run is negative 2 points, right? Well, a strikeout is plus 2.75. So every strikeout cancels out an earned run plus adds an additional almost 1 point, 0.75. So if you think about it, if a pitcher gives up 3 earned runs, that's negative 6 points. But if they also have 8 strikeouts, that's plus 22. So you're looking at a plus 16 just from the strikeouts, even though they gave up 3 earned runs. Batting average against, slugging percentage, and OPS are better indicators of a pitcher getting blown up, because batting average against is telling you they're getting multiple hits, they're getting on base over and over. Slugging percentage is telling you they're giving up home runs and power. And then OPS is also including all of that and walks and everything else. And so you want to look at that. If I can get this to load. If you look at here, and let's sort by batting average against. Justin Verlander has only a 173 batting average against. So even though he's given up the most home runs in baseball at 28, he has tons of strikeouts, so it cancels out. But there are some guys on this list that will surprise you. I have to click it twice because the first time it sorts by lowest. So Mike Leake, Masahiro Tanaka, their ERA is over 4 and their slugging percentage indicates it. But let me find somebody Okay, perfect. Chris Sale. His ERA is 4, but a batting average against is 220, and his slugging is 400. That means, uh, you know, he's going to have positive regression. Yeah, he got blown up a couple times, but he's going to just dominate. And we can look at that by going here. His ERA is 4. His record is 5-9. So some people are like, "Whoa, he's not a great pitcher," because they're just looking at that. Fact is, look at this: 55 earned runs in 123 innings pitched. Okay, 55 earned runs is negative 110 fantasy points, but he has 182 strikeouts on the season. So 182 strikeouts is 500 DraftKings points. So you subtract the 110. Sale has a positive DraftKings points of 390 on the season because of strikeouts. That is why when you were looking at and you're like, oh, well, this guy has a high ERA. Well, it doesn't matter to me because he's getting strikeouts. Now, that's also why I didn't really like the bottom tier of pitching for yesterday, for example. Wade LeBlanc and Brett Anderson don't get strikeouts. So what happened when Brett Anderson gave up runs is his score plummeted quickly because he didn't have the strikeouts to back him up. That's why I'm looking for a strikeout pitcher, because strikeouts are going to carry you. Because one out, a regular out, is only 0.75 points. A strikeout is 2.75 points. It's so critical in daily fantasy sports to have strikeouts. And that's why, and I'm pulling it up here on Roto Grinders. This is why I don't like Anibal Sanchez. A lot of people want to play him all the time. He only has a 19% strikeout rate, and he has a 9% walk rate. That means he's walking too many guys. He's not striking out enough guys. Now, let's go somebody else. There's not really a ton of top tier pitching tonight to look at. But, okay, Zach Green. This is why he's going to be the chalk pitcher in cash games tonight. He has a 23, almost 24% strikeout rate and very, very low walk rate at 3%. And he gets to face Miami, who we all know is just downright terrible. Next thing I want to look at is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Miami's going to have 6 right-handed pitcher or right-handed batters. His strikeouts to right-handed batters goes up to 25.5% and walks only 3.5%. This is why you want strikeouts. And this is why for your second pitcher, you want strikeouts. But here's the deal. Here's a perfect example. Jose Urquidy. I don't know how you say that, for Houston. Because he hasn't pitched very many games, only 3 games this season, and one was against Texas, and that was when Texas was not hitting for nothing, his strikeout rate is 30.4% and his walk rate is 1.8%. However, if I go here, I'm going to show you why I am not personally playing him. A lot of people will be chasing because of those strikeouts. Well, a lot of those strikeouts were in one game. You go to his game log, only 4 strikeouts the other 2 games, 5 earned runs, and 2 earned runs. His splits tell us he's reverse splits. He's giving up 375 batting average to right-handed batters and a 542 slugging percentage to right-handed batters and a 917 OPS. Those stats tell me that despite his high strikeout rate that's inflated from one game, he shouldn't have another great performance tonight. So, I hope this video helped you guys kind of understand where we come from when we pick pitchers, why we don't care about ERA, especially if it's an ERA for the last 5 starts or something like that, because strikeouts run the game. And that's why most of the time chalk pitching is against whoever's playing Detroit, Miami, Chicago White Sox, Toronto Blue Jays, or Baltimore Orioles. And the reason is those teams have the highest strikeout rates in baseball. So if you combine a high strikeout rate pitcher with a high strikeout rate batting team, that's what sets you up to win the money. Thanks again for checking this video out, and wish you the best of luck.